Mirroring the wholesome plot of land commonly known as Chirac, Genshin Impact has many gangs vying for the alteration of Teyvat. There's the Fatui Harbingers who wish to overthrow Celestia, then there's the Abyss Order who wish to overthrow Celestia, then there's the Sovereigns who appear to be mixed on the whole situation. Some of the more hopeful young bloods think they can sway the balance of power in Teyvat and overthrow Celestia.
Now that I have reclaimed one of the 7 authorities from the hands of the usurpers, I have regained my true form. I am now a fully fledged dragon, powerful enough to judge the rest of the gods. My final destiny is to judge the usurper king in the heavens above.
Whereas the ones who have been there since the beginning, seen it all, don't care to do anything right now.
Tiny Booer, and the rest of you, continue forward. I shall keep a watchful eye. How far will a life so dear and precious to the heavenly principles be able to go? I wonder.
And finally, there's the great and mighty heavenly principles, who probably just want to keep the current state of affairs as is, man. No war, just peace. But ultimately, which one of these groups will succeed, and what does their ideal Teyvat look like? Side note, I think it's likely that with the way this game is going, the Teyvat Chapter will literally just be us exploring the nations and getting an understanding of this world and what the truth is. And then the second chapter of this game is where things actually kick off, just because this game is moving at a snail's pace, and despite 4 entire Archon quests, the most significant piece of lore we've gotten was from a book. I mean, let's not forget, the whole point of the game originally was to simply find our sibling and the god that took them. Now it's to find the truth of this world, which presumably is done by exploring the nations. All of them, Cryo included, which is why it's the final area of the Teyvat chapter. So unless they cram in the ending quickly after learning the truth, there's probably another chapter. In any case, let's say they do cram in the ending Spider-Man 3 style, and in one way or another the Fatui, Abyss Order, or Sovereigns take down the Divine Thrones. What happens next? Let's start with the Sovereigns, because they're the least united of the bunch. The Sovereigns have the most legitimate claim thus far to wanting to defeat Celestia, given it was their world originally and their race was put in the blender by Daddy Fanes to make way for humanity. However, of the 2 Sovereigns we've met thus far, they have very different reactions to the current situation. Neuvillette fully intends to leap up to Celestia one day and judge the Master of the Heavens. Somehow. Apep, on the other hand, who has fought against Fanes directly, doesn't care much to do anything right now but watch everything unfold. Neuvillette plan is still hilarious to me. 7 Sovereigns and a Dragon King who all had their full power plus forbidden knowledge couldn't get the job done, but he thinks he can do it. I mean, he's a dreamer, I'll give him that. Tackling the Sovereign's angle on the whole situation is tough due to the fact that out of 7, we've only met 2. We know the other Sovereigns are being reincarnated. The description of the Bolt Eater Bathsimal Bishop states, quote, "Following the fading of the 7 Sovereigns' powers, a new generation of Sovereigns is presently being born. I'm sure eventually we'll meet more Sovereigns, and assuming they decide to hitch back on Neuvillette's plan, then the answer to the question of what Teyvat would look like if the Sovereigns overthrow Celestia is quite simple, as Neuvillette told us himself.
From my observations, humans have a tendency to view themselves as being in opposition with nature. And whenever this point is raised, someone is always quick to respond by declaring that humans are in fact a part of nature like any other organism. To someone like me, however, who knows an inkling of the truth, what would be most beneficial is if human civilization and the natural world of this planet could seek ways to coexist with one another.
Well, that seems wholesome enough, although I'm a little curious what's wrong with the coexistence as it is right now, because both the human and the light realm coexist with one another. It's just that the human realm controls the light realm. Just because think about it. As much as Neuvillette wants to judge the heavens for their wrongdoings in the past and whatever else virtue signaling bullshit he comes up with, what he's really after is revenge. He wants to risk a war that would inevitably result in many collateral deaths in the thousands, just to keep the status quo. Dragons and Sovereigns exist in this world. It's not like you guys are a persecuted bunch. Fanes just did what he had to create humanity. It wasn't personal, man. They're so mad. Y'all fought the war and lost. Just bow your head and move on. God damn, man. So that's the world that the Sovereigns have their way. Pretty much just what it is right now, but with another war for some reason. Those warmongering bastard dragons, evil bunch, I tell you. A complete 180 from this perspective, however, is the Abyss Order, for a number of different reasons. The first being, they just don't like humanity. They don't like him not one bit, which is weird when you consider they were all humans once. But it seems like their hatred for humanity more stems from the fact that they simply exist as people of the Seven, and because the Abyss Order hates the gods above everything else, they hate anything that associates with them, least of all, people worshipping them. I mean, given they use the darkness from the Void Realm, which is antithetical to both the human and light realm, they clearly just, like, don't give a fuck. Which is weird when you consider that one of their goals, aside from challenging destiny, is to revive Conria, but it's like, how? Like, who's finna be living there? Abyss Mages and Hilly Charles? That's not even Conria anymore. That's like a new nation of monsters based, but it's not Conria. Regardless, their version of Teyvat, I'd imagine, looks something like this. You see this? It's nothing. Darkness. Black. If you're staring at yourself, might I say, you are a beautiful son of a bitch. Anyways, this is all because the nature of the Abyss is to destroy, and if they prevail, nothing remains. Moving on, the Fatui seem to unilaterally follow the Cryo Archon, who herself has turned on Celestia for reasons not yet known. The Fatui are weird, man, because they are objectively an evil organization doing what they think and many think to be the right thing by challenging the divine. Let's say they win. What next? Does the Fatuist image change from that of an international criminal syndicate to heroes? Are all their sins forgiven and the Seven Nations just go back to living peacefully alongside one another, just with no Celestia? Well, probably not, because let's not forget this is being described as a coming war.
She is a god with no love left for her people, nor do they have any left for her. Her followers hope only to be on her side when the day of her rebellion against the divine comes at last.
And it will be a war and people will die, and they won't know what they're dying for, lest the Cryo Archon quite literally climbs to a mountaintop, preps a megaphone that can reach all the nations, and preaches about how Celestia is evil and why war is necessary. And even then, why would they care? Humans live a good life right now, and unless the truth of this world is some promised Neverland shit, I really don't think they'd care if this world was once taken from lizards. As it stands right now, we've spoken about the Sovereigns going to war with Celestia, which would kill thousands to keep the status quo, the Abyss Order going to war with Celestia, which would kill thousands to kill everyone, and the Fatui going to war with Celestia, which would kill thousands. Thousands? I mean, yeah, there's thousands. Yeah, there's like 34 people that live in each nation, apparently. Teyvat is not very populated. But do you know which gang doesn't want a war, but just wants the best for everyone? That's right, Celestia. They don't want to fight, they only fight when it's absolutely necessary for the purposes of mankind. And as an added bonus, the current status quo remains at the cost of 0 lives being wasted in a pointless war. A most beneficial outcome indeed. In any case, this is reality in a fantasy world, so a war will inevitably be fought, and as an old sovereign once said,
In war, the victor would inherit the right to shape the world, while the losers must turn into ash.
So Celestia is gonna have to summon their inner Drake and back-to-back the Sovereigns, put down one of their rogue Archon puppets, and fend off the Abyss for the 1000th time. This ain't nothing they ain't done before, and it's nothing they can't keep doing.